You know, it's tempting to think that self-esteem is just something that's inborn in certain people. They're just naturally confident. Or attribute it to their childhood. Well, they must have had great parents growing up. They must have grown up in a loving and supportive environment. Where the truth is, self-esteem is absolutely 100% under our control. We can grow our sense of self-esteem. Self-esteem is like a muscle. So today I'm going to share with you one proven technique that can improve your self-esteem instantly. Check it out. Hey there, my name is Matt Boggs, and I'm the founder of the Love and Relationships Division of the Brave Thinking Institute, where our mission is empowering people to create and live lives they love, and that includes your love life. And so if you like this video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, click the little bell so you get notifications, because every week we bring you videos to empower you in your love life. And today we're talking about self-esteem. What is it that can grow the muscle of self-esteem? Help us increase our confidence, which gives rise to better decision making, more freedom in life, the ability to express who you are meant to be in this world. And so to set up this principle, let me share with you a story. I grew up the youngest of 4 kids. I've got an older sister who's 2.5 years older, and then an older brother who's 10 years older, and then another older brother who's 11 years older than I am. And so we had a family tradition growing up that every Sunday we'd go to church, and then after church, our parents would take us to a restaurant, and then we'd go see a movie. And this was our family bonding time. And my brothers and sisters, they would often get to choose the restaurant we would go to. And one particular Sunday, my mom tells us siblings, she says, okay, today is Matt's day. He's gonna be able to pick where we go. And I'm like 9 years old at this moment. Now keep in mind, I really look up to my older sister, my older brothers, but I knew what I wanted on this day. There was one restaurant that would trump all other restaurants for my little 9-year-old taste buds, and that was McDonald's. And so I told my mom, I want to go to McDonald's. Let's go. And I was so pumped, so excited. Now my brothers heard McDonald's and they were like, oh, they didn't want to go. My sister didn't want to go, but my parents and my mom was like, I don't care. It's Matt's day. He never gets to choose, so we're going to McDonald's. So the doors open to McDonald's. I walk in like I'm on cloud 9. I'm loving it. They have a play zone in the back. I'm going to get myself a Happy Meal. And I get my Happy Meal, and we're all sit down for this lunch. And I see my brothers and I see my sister, and they are in a bad mood. They don't like their food. They don't like what's going on. And instantly I start connecting the dots that they don't like what's going on. They're not happy about this. And then we leave McDonald's and we're going to go to the restaurant, and I'm trying to connect with them, and they're like, no, they don't want to connect with me. And my little 9-year-old brain hooked up this idea in that moment that if I'm going to have great connection with somebody, then that means that I need to put their needs ahead of my own. It was this wild connection that I made that if I ask for what I really want, it might cost me connection with those that I most love. Do you see what's happening here? We will often form irrational beliefs as kids. We'll make meaning and stories out of things that aren't logical, that aren't even really true, but become operating systems by which we live our life. And I began to notice something really interesting, that in my early 20s, I carried this belief that if I asked for what I wanted, that it would cost me the connection or the love that I wanted. And so I noticed that I would hesitate to really ask for what I wanted. I'd go to a restaurant, and instead of asking for extra sauce on the side of the burger, like they didn't give me enough, I'd want more, I just wouldn't say anything, because I didn't want to put the waitress out, her going to make an extra trip to the back, or I'd be on an airplane. And instead of asking for the whole can, this was back in the days when they would serve you drinks on an airplane, you didn't have to pay for everything. Instead of asking for the whole can, I just let her fill up that little plastic cup, and I would just drink that. Or I'd be working on a project in college, and one person wouldn't be pulling their weight. I'm like, that's okay, I'll do it for them, instead of asking for what I wanted, which was for them to do their share of that project. That is a toxic pattern that erodes your self-esteem. Because every time you don't ask for what you want, every time you don't stand up for yourself, what are you communicating to your subconscious mind? Your subconscious mind picks it up like this. The message that's communicated is, Matt, you're not worth an extra trip to the back for sauce. Matt, you're not worth the whole can of soda that you want. Matt, you're not worth standing up for yourself and asking that someone take on this extra project. When you don't ask for what you want, you're communicating to your subconscious mind, to your hidden self-image, that you're not even worth that. And it erodes your self-image. When I began to work on this, it completely changed my life. Because I first became aware of it when I would get irritated at other people who would ask for what they wanted. I'd go on a flight with my buddy, and he not only would ask for what he wanted, he would ask for 2 cans of soda. I remember one particular flight, he asked for 2 cans of soda and 3 extra bags of pretzels. And I felt myself get so irritated with him. I was like, oh, why are you asking for all that? He didn't care if she thought he was selfish, and he did it in such a charismatic way that the flight attendant was happy to give him the extra can. She was like, yeah, I'll get you this extra can, and I'll get you these extra bags. And she loved serving in that way. And I realized, oh my gosh, often the things that irritate us about somebody else are the things that we haven't yet loved inside of ourselves. Hear that. The things that irritate us, that upset us about someone else, are often the things that we haven't yet loved and fully accepted about ourselves. I hadn't loved myself enough to ask for what I really want. And I was embarrassed about that. There were parts of myself that I wasn't loving. And so I began to work on that. I began to, when I go to a restaurant, ask for exactly what I want. When I'm on an airplane, ask for exactly what I want. I began to ask for things in a whole new way and stand up for myself when someone wasn't living up to their end of the bargain, in a relationship or in a work relationship. This all comes down to the art of being self-assertive. If you want to raise your self-esteem, this is the number one proven principle, is to be self-assertive. Stand up for yourself and ask for what you want. It was this practice that completely changed my life, skyrocketed my business, and allowed me to meet my wife. And that is, when I was writing a book, my best friend and I wanted to promote the book Project Everlasting. And so people ask, how did you get on the Today Show? And I tell them, I literally picked up the phone and I cold called them and I asked. Because I said, what show do I want to be on? I would love to be on the Today Show. So I picked up the phone, cold called them, and with confidence and with a knowingness that I am worthy of being on this show. I am worthy of having people hear this message. I am worthy of getting this work out into the world. From that place, the Today Show said, absolutely, we would love to have you on the show. And that was the first catalyst moment that transformed my business. And that led to an event and a speaking engagement and an event where I ultimately met my wife. So how are you self-assertive in your life? On a scale of 1 to 10, how often do you ask for what you want? How often are you willing to stand up for yourself when someone's not meeting their end of the bargain or not living up to expectations? I'll share with you a quick story. A client of mine went on a date 2 weeks ago. She shared about this date on our group coaching call, and the women applauded. They were like, that is amazing. I love how you were self-assertive. She was on this date, and an hour, this guy's sexy, successful, good looking. She's having a good time with him. And yet on the date, 90 minutes into the date, she said, he's just talking. He's talked the entire 90 minutes. And so she interrupts him and she goes, can I tell you what I would really love right now? And he's like, yeah, what would you love? And she goes, I would really love it if you were willing to ask me some questions about my life and were interested in some of the things that I have going on. And she said, you may not be aware of this, but you've actually been talking for the last 90 minutes. And while I'm highly interested, I'm also wondering if you're actually interested in me, and the only way you're going to know is if you discover more about me. So would you be willing to ask me a few questions? And he was a bit shocked and a bit struck in that moment. But she said he leaned in. He was like, yeah, of course, I totally want to know about you. And well, tell me about your family. Tell me about where you grew up. And she said it transformed into a beautiful conversation. What a powerful way to stand up for yourself. What a powerful way to be self-assertive, to interrupt someone. We've all been on dates where someone's only talking about themselves, and to, instead of just playing nice, being like, okay, and then chalking that date up to not very good, take control of the moment and say, hey, you know what I would love? Very feminine, powerful statement. I would love it if you would ask me some questions. And he lived into that moment. So my challenge for you this day is to pay attention to what you want. Pay attention to what matters to you. Pay attention to the moments when someone might be living up to their end of the bargain, and be willing to dial up your own self-assertiveness. Because when you do, you communicate to your subconscious mind. You communicate to that hidden self-image that you're worth it, that you're worthy, and that you matter. Because the truth is, you do. you are worth it and you are worthy. And when you do that, you build up the muscle of your own self-esteem, which gives rise to more confidence, which connects you to all kinds of possibilities in your life. So my question for you is, what have you found builds your self-esteem? I would love to hear your insights. Go ahead and post those in the comment section below. I appreciate you. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.